I'm Keith McElroy. The car is a 1964 Renault R8 1100, made in Australia. I guess was most famous for the fact that the Wheels magazine started their Car of the Year award, which has become a well-known award by awarding this car the Car of the Year at the beginning of 1964. Renault originally made a very high-powered competition version of these cars, which won the Australian Rally Championship in the early 1970s. I used to rally one of those cars in my youth, parted with the car, which I've always regretted, and so getting the ordinary version was something that attracted me because of the old competition car I'd had. The engines are very easy to modify by just changing the sleeves inside the engine, which alters the capacity of the engine. So this one is a little bit bigger than the 1100 standard. It's 1289 cc's, and so it has a little bit more power. So it has a set of exhaust extractors and a twin throat Weber carburetor, and the brakes have also been slightly upgraded with a power booster. But other than that, it's exactly as it would have been way back in 1964. They are still a very pleasant car to drive, even though the car is so old. They had independent suspension front and rear, and they had four-wheel disc brakes. Very comfortable car and still quite lively to drive on a public road. Doesn't have the safety equipment of a modern car, so you need to be careful. So I don't really have any plans to do any more modifications to it. It shares a shed space with a few other old Renaults, and they'll take top priority until they're up to a similar sort of condition to this one. I like the looks, but many people wouldn't. That's a very individual thing. The feature I guess I like most is the fact that it's rear-engined, and that's pretty rare in modern cars. Safety regulations have basically got rid of rear-engine cars off the market, but they were still very, very good fun to drive, particularly on dirt roads, because all the weight of the engine sat over the rear wheels, so you had excellent traction. You could go places that you would otherwise need a four-wheel drive to go. In fact, about 18 months ago, I drove a car with mechanicals almost identical to this up to the tip of Cape York, just for a fun adventure, because they said you needed a four-wheel drive to get there, and I decided, well, no, you could get there in an old rear-engine Renault, so I did. That ability to go places because of the rear engine is a real attraction for me. All being well and being able to cope with whatever life throws at me in the way of expenses, it would be pretty close to the end of the possessions that I would sell to afford the next doctor's bill, I think. But other than that, no, it'll stay in the shed.
I would like to call Keith McElroy up to the stage, please.